sana, ladies and gentlemen, to a new show within the Cinema Corner family. This show is tracing the beginnings of many of our artists in Kenya. We'll be talking about a festival that a lot of people in the film industry in Kenya and outside and people within the theater industry have gone through. That is the Kenya National Drama Festival. Now it's Kenya National Drama and Film Festival.
Yes, yeah.
And we'll be bringing you stories, we'll be bringing you perspectives on the festival to understand, to unpack the festival. You know, people keep talking about what drama, or acting kama ya drama. Now, we need to unpack that and understand it. And we are privileged today to start with one of the stalwarts of the festival, a mentor to many, including myself, and someone who has contributed so much. He's in the Oscars committee, so he's still with bado kwa maisha yetu in arts in very many ways. And ladies and gentlemen, I might not have done that introduction a very fair in a very fair way, but let me introduce you to Mr. Wycliffe Philip Buhere Msiani. Amayoka, Tsinje himself.
Thank you very much. Asante sana.
Yes.
Yes, as you said, my name is Wycliffe Buhere. Most of my mentees call me Msiani, because that is the name that we normally use to operate within the foyer, where we call it the Hall of Fame.
The Hall of Fame.
Where we nurture talent, we make talent blossom from that mighty foyer. We call it Hall of Fame. So I am actually a principal lecturer at the Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, basically the Department of Film Training. Of course, I teach film critique and aesthetics of film, as well as production design in film. So basically that's what I do. And in the avenue of theater, as far as Kenya National Drama and Film Festival is concerned, I am the current chairman of the colleges within Nairobi, and I have actually been able to serve in various categories. I've been able to serve in various categories as the assistant secretary, moving on to the secretary, going on to the executive secretary within colleges in Nairobi, and then currently I'm the chairman of colleges within Nairobi.
And you have been for some time?
I've been for some time, of course, running through the ranks to be where I am. So it's been for some time. And I would call myself as a theater manager. Theater manager in the sense that I'm not just, in terms of management per se, in terms of running errands or making sure things are moving. I'm basically technical in many ways in as far as the current aspects of theater in as far as Kenya National Drama and Film Festival is concerned. So basically, I also give my input to the National Committee in terms of technical aspects. I have also been able to sit on the various committees, like just last year in October, we were in Nakuru Day developing rubrics that would be used to be able to navigate through the COVID, because COVID, the new normal. How then can we navigate through the new normal when we are able to perform on stage? So I was part of that committee that was called upon by the National Executive Secretary to be able to sit down and work out formula that would be able to make our learner, our trainee, go back on stage. Yes.
We'll actually revisit that COVID issue, because now it's 2 years. It's the second year since we had drama festivals. And we are talking about a festival that is over 60 years. And for those 60, I think 61 years.
61 years, yeah.
It never, as when we had coups in Kenya, it didn't matter. It started during the colonial period.
Yes.
And nothing ever stopped the festival.
There's no single year we have missed, even with the various pandemics breaking. Like you remember in, that was 1999, 1998, 99. when we were to be hosted by the Coast Province by then, that is at the Aga Khan Hall in Mombasa, there was cholera that broke out in Mombasa. But still we were able to divert our attention to Nairobi, and of course our very school, Duke of York, that is Leonard School, was able to host us. So we've been able to navigate through all terrain in as far as trouble, pandemics are concerned. And this is the only year that we have been able to break away from that, routine or that tradition. That's 2020 and 2021. But as we speak now, we are still waiting for the white smoke, and the white smoke would be open at any given time. We've done our part, rubrics, and we are waiting for the authorities to give us go ahead so that we can be able to live within the enforcement of the pandemic, COVID-19.
A lot of people who have interacted with you would think you are born in a festival hall. Because of all those things that you do, you are highly involved in the festival, you're a very excellent MC, one of the best dressed people I have met. But one would ask, where did now achana na Msiani? Msiani actually means young.
As a young man.
Young man.
Yeah, kijana mtanashati.
Yes. Na wewe usayakangi. One would ask, who now Wycliffe Philip Buhere?
Yes.
Where does he come from?
This young man, so to speak, as it were, was born somewhere in Kakamega North, at a place called Ingwe Village in Kakamega North, Kabras. And grew up right from there, went to Lukume Primary School all the way to 1982, when he sat for his Kenya certificate of certificate of education, KCPE by then, and was actually taken to go to Karanja High School. Karanja High School is in Busia County now. It was actually Busia District, and went there from one, and I couldn't sustain the heat. We had quite some problems health-wise. We had cholera, broke in the school, and I was among the 7 boys who were affected by the cholera. And actually, I lost quite some blood in terms of diarrhea. And then later on, when I had just sat my examination around November, I went back home, very malnourished, and of course, my father took me to. He was actually working at Naivasha railway station as a station master, and I stayed at Naivasha District Hospital for about 1 month, being taken care of to be able to recuperate and be able to be normal. And when that was done, come January, my father said, no, I can't go all the way to Karanja in Busia County. I was found a school within Kakamega, that was Ingose Boys High School. And that's where I lived all my 5 years, from Form 2 going on to Form 4, qualifying very well, being taken from 5, Form 6.
Okay. Of course, some of us don't relate with,
with that kind of program. Yes.
So, is there, at that point, had you practiced performance, drama?
Yes, I was very marvelous in Kiswahili, and at most of the symposiums, so to say, Kiswahili symposiums in Western Province, I would always be number 1, number 2. You'll be surprised that I did Kiswahili, Fasihi, and Kiswahili up to Form 6 and scoring very well with a very strong principle in it. So I learned the art of public speaking way back in high school. I was, something I have not told you, that I did fine art. I did fine art from Form 5, Form 6. And doing fine art, you would begin from anywhere. So when I did my Form 4, there was no fine art in the school. But then when I went to Form 5, when I was in Form 4, Mr. Anaswa, who was then at Musingu High School, brought all the teachers and all the coaches of football to Ingos High School. So when he brought the coaches of football and brought all the good teachers, we had a very nice Ugandan teacher who was formerly a lecturer at Makerere University. So when the scholars in Uganda who had run away from the turmoil came to Kenya, Mwalimu was one of them. And when he was brought from Musingu to Ingose, I was able to start my fine art, and I was a very good fine artist. I had talent, but I did not been exposed to any training. So I did fine art from 5, from 6, and I qualified with a principal in fine art, would you believe it, within 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So I basically, besides being a public speaker, in all forums, and whenever we'd go, boys would tell me, Wycliffe, be there and do it. And surprisingly, also be surprised that when I was doing Form 5, Form 6, I was teaching the lower level, Kiswahili, and Fine Art in Form 1 and Form 2. And while I was a senior boy in Form 5 and Form 6.
So your journey of mentorship started?
My journey began very early, very early. If you talk to the boys who are with me in Ngozi, will tell you I basically had something new, something different, something spectacular, something peculiar in me that I would stand out of the rest on specific issues, and that's what I have been even up to now. I try to look at everybody as an item that can do much better. I look at young people I work with, and I look at talent in them, and I think we can do much better. When I'm with them, I'm basically like them. I relate with anybody depending on who you are, what age you are, depending on the situation. So, and that's how I've been able to bond quite well with my mentees.
So, at this point, because you've mentioned Fine Art and Kiswahili, had performance begun, like stage performance, drama, or
Yes, we had. Ngozi was doing very well. I remember we had a very good play at Ngozi Boys High School, The General Returns. And I was able to feature in that play, and it performed very well up to provincial level. And having gone up to provincial level in Western Kenya, you know very well that you are very good. The item was very good. So and then of course we are only having one play number 2 coming to national. So if you are play number 3, you can't have your way out. So you have to wait for another year to perform. So much of my performance would then of course reach up to the provincial level, which then we are calling at regional level. But then I was very brilliant in as far as performance and even the management of the boys is concerned. I was basically more or less like a de facto patron when I was actually working with the boys, well, as a chairman of the drama club at Ngozi Boys High School by then. Yes.
And at this time, were you, attending the festivals at any level?
I was attending the festivals. I would be able to travel. And of course, being in school, it was very difficult for me to travel. When the boys are unable to come to national, and I would remain at that lower level, so I would not be able to come. And I think as you check later, you find that the festival was basically domiciled in Nairobi at the Kenya National Theatre, and later on, of course, moving out of Nairobi. So basically, much of the activities were in Nairobi. So if you have been able to perform, not able to be picked to go to the national, that would be the end of the journey, and then you'd remain right there.
Okay. So now you go to Form 6, an excellent artist, an excellent Kiswahili speaker, and public speaker. So how then did you move to from all those things and then ended up still in the drama festival up to where we are?
Yeah, when I performed well at the Ngozi High School, remember we were 34 candidates in Form 6, and all the 20 went to campus, and the rest were able to go to diploma colleges. And I think the last person had 8 points. Wow. And having 10 points would go to the university directly, and anybody having 9 points to 8 points would go to tertiary institutions, would go to Siriba.
The total out was the total points, like what we would call an A.
What we call an A would be 16 points.
Oh, 16 points.
16 points, yes.
Okay.
So you would find that somebody is getting 10 points to 16, university material. Others would come and do law, 15, 16 points. Others will come and do what others were calling as Bachelor of Anything, BA, 10 points, 11 points, and others will go to teaching. Yeah. Most of them would be between 10 points to somewhere 14 points, depending whether they're going for sciences or going for arts. But most guys who are going for medicine, going for law, would be, of course, 15 to 16 points.
Yes.
Yes.
So, so what did you do in campus?
Now, surprisingly, what you would call JAP now, Joint Admission Board, admitted me to go and do education.
Actually, right now they are KUCCPS.
They are calling it CUSPS.
Yes, CUSPS.
That's Kenya Universities and Colleges Joint Admission Services.
Central Placement
Services, yes, COPS. The others call it CUPS, others call it CUSPS. So basically, I was picked, and those days, Gabu, to go to the university, your name must have appeared in the national newspaper. Oh. In the national newspaper, which was a government newspaper, was Kenya Times. that which we also call Kenya sometimes. It was actually run by KANU, and KANU and government were the same, so the paper was being run by KANU. So any advert from government or any placement of any serious activity from government must have been published in Kenya Times.
Wow.
And if your name did not appear in Kenya Times, Gabu,
university.
you would go nowhere. You would go nowhere. So you would be able, in career guidance at Form 6, you would apply university. Number 2 choice would be a tertiary institution, and that's diploma. Number 3 would be, teacher training. That is going for teacher training in primary. So remember, we had only 3 diploma colleges. We had Siriba, we had Kenya Science, and we had Kagumo. Then we had others like Eregi, Kaimosi, we had Shansu teachers, we had Togoto, we had Machakos, and others. And of course, again, we had Kisi. Kisi was also a diploma college. Okay. Kisi College was a diploma college, now Kisi University. So you would be able to pick one university, you'd pick diploma, you'd pick any other.
TTC.
Yes, and the issues of TVET was not serious. TVET wasn't so serious those days, technical colleges. Of course, we had Mombasa Polytechnic. We also had Kenya Polytechnic. You would also opt to go there. We used to have Sangalo. We used to have Bukura in Western Kenya. Okay. So you would pick on those colleges if you would not perform very well. But my boys, 20 of them, went to university, and the other remaining went to either Siriba, went to Kagumo, and went to Kisi. So it was a very, very beautiful class. And I want to I'll put it over to Mr. Naswa, who was our principal, who went later to politics and became the MP. He was a great teacher. Yes.
So you went to campus yourself?
I went to campus, and I was telling you that my admission was to go to do education, arts, and I was given Kiswahili and history. And remember my journey in fine arts. I had done fine art very well. And during my preparation to do career choice, nobody mentioned to me that we have design or fine art at the University of Nairobi as teaching. So when I came there, I found there was no combination for teaching in fine art. The only teaching for fine art was in KU. So, and that time it was difficult for you to move what we are calling as inter-university change. It was only interfaculty. And even interfaculty, Gabu, was very difficult. So it was actually through a proper arrangement, and I had my senior there, Kennedy Buhere, who was now in 3rd year, who trying to find my way out, coming to campus, main campus, trying to do transfers. And Kennedy Buhere was able to transfer me from Kikuyu campus and came to main campus, ADD, right here across the road, the mighty Architecture, Design and Development Department.
But do you say?
No, I don't say. We only mention, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So were you able to, did you still continue the journey?
Yes,
of
I did. I did.
in
And,
campus?
at the University of Nairobi, to be able to participate in the Education 1 and 2 performing arts, you must have been in literature and linguistics. And remember, I was just a technical person across the road in ADD. So what I did was we would come over and watch plays, and many times we also developed an amorphous group we were calling ourselves Tindikiti. And we had a Tindikiti group, and you'll be so surprised that Tindikiti group were performing in Kanu 92.
Oh.
Youth for Kanu 92 activities. So every other weekend, the buses at the University of Nairobi would align themselves at CCU to be able to pick us to go to any other place we were having an activity. And we had then the chairman of Youth for Kanu 92, Mr. Jirongo, would be able to ask us through Wafuho, Mulongo. We pick ourselves and go and perform. And I was actually a lead dancer. I was a lead dancer. We would fly all over this country, going to perform, entertain before the main guys come to talk to people. So we would be able to be like advance party. We'd do a recce, would be a recce team. We arrive there, we go there at advance party 2 days earlier. We prepare the mood, the ground. When the guys fly down, they found that the group is entertained well, just waiting to be spoken to. So I was a lead dancer. And at one point, I remember my father seeing my picture on the headline of Kenya Times. And Kenya Times was basically one of the most powerful newspaper. I'm dancing, and we were in Garissa. Would you imagine? Flown to Garissa. So my dad told me, come back to school.
What did he say about that?
He was surprised. He was surprised. Those days being a dancer, and you are a campus student, you are a joker. So you are a joker. So my dad told me, no, please go back to school. And surprisingly, I would want to tell you for free that most of my teammates did not perform very well in the final examination. They actually got a pass. And me and others were very lucky. And because we came earlier, we got a very good performance, upper division.
Okay, so so at that point,
Yes.
Are you in the picture of the drama festival, or is just Tindikiti issues?
I'm so lost in Tindikiti. I'm so lost in Tindikiti, and I didn't have much time to do with the University of Nairobi, the traveling theatre and the Education 1 and 2. But of course, we would perform, we would follow them and perform. But much of the time, I was in Tindikiti. You know, I was doing a lot of Kamabeka dance, and I was a lead dancer. Would you imagine? Free dancer. And you know, those days we used to have free dance in even our schools and colleges. So I took that element of free dance and brought it to the so to speak, traveling free theatre for YK92.
Oh,
yes.
Wow, okay.
Yes.
That's so. Umemaliza campus.
Yes.
Where do you now take these AD?
Surprisingly, I will tell you for free that when I finished campus, I was very aggressive. In fact, when I was doing my third year, I would have people from upmarket would come to me to go and teach the children in the houses, especially Indian, and of course, again, Europeans. Most of them would come and pick me. Either I go to Parklands, Westlands, I would go to Kitsuru, or I would go to Kilimani. So I would go and I was teaching children on drawing and painting. You know, these upmarket children love drawing as their pastime. So I would do that for them. And then just after finishing my paper on 19th of September 1992, I found somebody parked at the ADD asking me to come and accompany him to go and assist him at the Creative Arts Center. I arrived at the Creative Arts Center. I was basically ushered in to be in lead advertisement department, as well as they're also having a school and having an agency for advertisement. So basically, I began running that particular outfit. And they were paying me some good money. They were paying me 7,900.
7,900.
That's a lot of money.
In 1992.
That's a lot of money, yes, yeah. That's a lot of money.
Very dynasty.
Yes. So and that money was very good for me, and I was very happy. And of course, again, you know, upon finishing campus, you would be able to go to Kenya Public Service Commission here on Harambee Avenue, and you pick forms, you fill them, then you wait for the interview. So I had been called for the interview. I went there with my portfolio, very beautiful portfolio for fine art. And after the interview, I forgot about it. First time I was posted to be an assistant designer in the Ministry of Tourism. I looked at the salary, looked at my salary at Creative Arts Center, I declined. The following year, that is 1994, the government computer saw my name still not reported. They had reposted me again as a film training officer at the Kenya Mass Communication. Remember, in my background as a fine artist, I had done a lot of photography. There was a lot of photography in the Department of Fine Arts. So, and you know, I had actually fairly majored in photography as well as interior design and fashion design. Okay. So when that came, I was taken to the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting as a film training officer at the Kenya Mass Communication.
The Kenya Institute of Making Celebrities.
Making celebrities.
That is what it became.
Mimi ndio huyo. I have arrived there. I found Mr. Osiako, who ushered me in. Then I went also to the department. I found Mr. Eston Munyi, who was the head of the department, ushered me in, took me around, and I was given an office and began doing a lot of work. I was being in administration, and I was also teaching. I was a film training officer in charge of all aspects of curriculum. Then again, I was given, you know, to teach. Okay. So an audiovisual officer as well as teacher. Then later on, because of various programs, I was taken through the postgraduate training in film directing. I was taken through again in training of trainers at the Kenya Technical Trainers College. It was Kenya Technical Teachers College. Now the government sponsored me to go and learn how to teach, because I was a teacher. I was an untrained teacher. So they gave me a scholarship to go and teach, to be a good teacher. And of course, again, having been taken through another scholarship for film directing. Yes.
And that was within KMC?
Within KMC. But Kenya Technical Teachers College, I had to go to campus I had to go to the main campus in Kigiri for 1 full year. Did section 1 and 2, which was final, advanced. Then I had to graduate, then came back. And I've been going through various trainings here and there. and you know, and at the moment, again, I have enrolled, which I've taken very, very long, Masters in Theatre and Film, which of course I'm at the project level.
Okay.
Yes.
So, Bado Drama Festival doesn't seem to be in the picture.
Where at this point?
We have joined the KMC.
Oh, I have arrived there, and on day one. Day one, I've been told to begin working. Remember, I arrived there and I found the legendary Jen Songa. Jen Songa, you know, KBC and KMC were basically one unit. Jen Songa was actually working here at KBC and was working at KMC as a teacher, a television programs lecturer. Then I also found William Ogonda. William Ogonda again was at KMC, was also at KBC. So those two guys had taken drama like this. So when I arrived there, that was 94, that was late, then 95, then 96, I was told to take over drama. Jen Songa, she had flown to Egypt to go and do work in Egypt, and William Ogonda now got stuck, you know, quarantined here at KBC, could not be able to move. So I continued now, I took over drama. And from that time, I've never left stage up to national level.
Yeah, because you are the father and the mother of PowerHouse.
Yes, I would say so.
Yes, you are Muzazi.
Yeah, okay, I would say
PowerHouse,
so.
And any of us who have gone through PowerHouse. So, tell us about PowerHouse. How did it begin? You know, did you perform in the festivals? How did you engage with PowerHouse and even go to the festival?
Surprisingly, if you take back the history of Kenya National Drama Festival, you realize that much of the involvement in colleges category or colleges chapter was basically for the teacher training colleges, which were under the Ministry of Education, and most of them were primary teacher training colleges and diplomas. Riba, we have Kisii College, as well as Kagumo, and then Kenya Science. But all others, you know, High Reach, talking about Thogoto, Machakos, and many others, were basically at the primary at P1 level. So the involvement of non-teacher training colleges, that is like Kenya Institute of Mass Communication, which was basically a government college, but not necessarily a teacher training college. The entry was basically in 1989. 1989, when we began seeing mixed grill of colleges coming on board, and KMC was among the first non-teacher training colleges joining Kenya National Drama Festival. And we had a very, very powerful play which performed at position 2. That was at Kenya Science, was 1989. Then 1990, the likes of Solomon Mogera. Solomon Mogera now is the editorial chief at the British Broadcasting Corporation. He was in the play. We had Elna Shivega. We also had William Ogonda himself being in that play. It was a very wonderful play. It was noticed that indeed this can also be done by non-teacher training colleges. And then we began now recruitment. Recruitment now came in to involve non-teacher training colleges to be part of the drama festival for colleges. Now I will push you far ahead. And remember that time, the festival had actually been able to leave Nairobi. And you realize that in 1981, 1982, that's when the festival left the Kenya National Theatre behind us here and went all the way to Western Kenya. Mukumu Girls. The Mukumu Girls. And we will remember what is known so specifically about that particular event when we had Bushangala. Bushangala arrived with Isikuti, and you know that Mukumu Girls is within the Idaho area, on the border of Idaho and Isoka. So when the villagers had the Isikuti, you know, being played, and it's illegal for you when the Isikuti is passing around and you are busy doing other things.
You're just passing by.
You must leave what you are doing and follow. So there's a woman who left the farm and came and joined on the stage. And surprisingly, the adjudicators gave that lady the adjudicators award. She just had the Isukuti and she moved on. So I was talking about it. So of course the festival has left Nairobi, has been, you know, traversing what one would want to call traveling theatre across Kenya, making sure that the Kenyan learner, Kenyan student is able to travel across Kenya, which is then one would want to call it edu tourism, entertainment tourism. So it had been at that level. So Kenya KMC got involved in it, and it did not have a patron that time. And remember, those students were from 6 students. So at that point, William Ogonda was actually a coach player. It was basically patron participant.
The producer who is acting.
He was also acting, yes. So basically, William Ogonda had taken over. Then when that performance came out very well and became position 2. Then the administration, the Kenya KMC, felt that indeed we must take drama seriously. And then later, on 1991, slightly before I came, when I came in 94, 1991, we had Majimbo, who was a lecturer in television, was told to take over drama and took over drama all that time, all the way. Then left it to Madam Songa. Then William Ogonda, when Ogonda now came and joined us later on as a KBC broadcaster as well as KMC lecturer. Then I took over from 1996. So all that time I've been driving the wagon. The locomotive has been moving on, and we have never stopped. We have never stopped at Makindu. We have never stopped at River. We have been moving all the way to the terminal in Mombasa. In Mombasa. Yes.
So, at what point did that become PowerHouse?
Now, we performed, and when I took over, the performance wasn't so much aggressive. But when I had the likes of Odera Odhiambo, that was in 1999, we had Odera Odhiambo when I had a very powerful play, The King's Dance, when we were in Tumutumu. Now that is now when things became, no, Tumutumu was 2000, yes. And the other year was in Mombasa. From when we left to Mombasa with Rashid, then we came over, then we had Odero Thiambo, 2000, we had a very, very powerful play. That is now when things began running very well. Now I had another wizard team, what I want to call a very, very powerful team, the Itumbi, who arrived in 2001. Then we then developed our anthem. We had never had an anthem. And I think we are the only team in theater that began an anthem, specifically for theater, not for the school, for theater, and that was 2000. And then you see, we love to sing the wonders of powers, you are my club. Yeah, we love to sing the one. Okay, that one was developed by Dennis Itumbi. I locked them in a room in the wooden block, and they developed a good lyric that then would be developed into a musical, into an anthem, and it has been there from time immemorial. So those are 20 years down the line, and the anthem has been there. So the powerhouse was gained there and about. And in 2001, I had a very nice comedy, The Portrait, in middle school. That was the best comedy ever. And we, as much as we've been having comedy coming from the Mombasa Polytechnic, The Portrait became a nice comedy. And this comedy was being led by Atieno, now the Director of Communications in Kisumu County, the girl who went to Cardiff University and came up with a master's in film and theatre.
The one who used to host Upambe in Citizen.
Upambe in Citizen. Yeah. And then we also had a fashion show. The girl, and of course we had Frederick Ndumuli. Frederick Ndumuli was a corporal and she was a police constable. And they were all in the same campus. And because being a woman, she went up, she became a police commissioner, and this man being a man, the plight of the boy child remained a corporal. You get the point? So yes, that is how the comedy came. And that comedy was the turning point of the powerhouse, so to speak. And at that point, I was invited alongside my team to perform in various events. And we went all the way to Mo University to perform in their Festival of the Arts, courtesy of Professor L.P. Barasa. Yes.
Okay. And from there, of course, it has been a journey, because we've had we had our season, like in a Dennis Mugo,
yes,
in Philip Karanja, in Abel Mutua,
the Njugush of this world,
yes,
even the Azziad of today, they are part of my team. Crazy world.
What really, because I think anyone who has gone through PowerHouse would tell the same story about you, that you touch everyone individually.
Yes.
For instance, myself, you dragged me by the ears from an engineering course to film.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
And you believed in me,
yes,
to choreograph the dances in PowerHouse, and you mentored me on that.
Yes.
You trusted, all of us. You gave us chances to actually be able to do that. How do you do that? How do you manage mentoring all those people?
I believe in one thing. All of us have talent, and if you have been in PowerHouse and you know very well that we diversify our abilities in different forms. You could just be a dancer and you may not be a choreographer, but you can be a trainer of the first female dancers. You could be a choreographer of the first female dancers. And that kind of provision of opportunities for people to know various talents in the club is what I've opened up with. Management, first and foremost, I believe in my team. I believe in my officials. And I always say that every official must be able to be in 2-3 items. You cannot be an official unless you are a serious performer. And you may realize that all my chairmen, the chairmen I've always had, all the secretaries, all the treasurers could be best actor, best dancer, best soloist, best narrator.
Best choreographer,
best choreographer, yes. and of course, drummist. I remember I've saved it as a drummist on my phone. So that is what I always believe in. And we're providing these young men and women an opportunity to lead. And we know very well that most of them have passion for arts, a passion for performance. So why would you not give them an opportunity and become, say, you look for talent outside there when they're already doing it? And that's when, of course, when they perform very well, first 2 years, some of the schools now begin to ask them to go and ask them to coach for them, or even do for them a script, or do for them a concept for an item, say a dance, or do a play, or do a narrative, or do a comedy. So I believe in them. And you realize that a third of the students at KMC, they belong to the PowerHouse.
The PowerHouse.
Yes.
It's a movement.
It's a movement.
All these people you've nurtured, what feeling do you get when you see them succeeding, doing wonders like what Njugush is doing?
It's nostalgic.
What Abel is doing, what Dennis is doing, Uko, Ferdinand Omondi.
It's nostalgic, Gabo.
And I have also noted that you make follow-ups.
I make follow-ups.
You know what everyone is doing and where they are.
I have a WhatsApp group, and we are now doing the third group of PowerHouse alumni. I take track of where they have gone. Even as old as 20 years, I know what they're doing. And whenever I'm having, I always look for some time, I talk to administration and allow them to come in once in a while to come and do mentorship. When the first year gets that at one point, Atieno was on stage. At one point, Njugush, at one point, Azziad was on stage. At one point, Pierra, the best female, DJ in Africa, they were on stage and they're out there. It even makes others come on board who may not have talent. But I always believe that everybody has talent. You could just be having a talent of crying, and we have crying in our play. I would invite you to come and do crying. So all of us at any given time, you have a good body. You can't speak, but just coming to be a goon to a king. That's talent. So I always believe all of them have talent. So that kind of mentorship program, whenever I invite them to come and talk to them, they attract others to come on board. Those who may have disappeared in environmental club, those who may have disappeared in other modeling club,
jobless
corner, they come. They have something to do at any given time. At 4 o'clock, we are in the wooden block. We are rehearsing. They go for dinner. At 8 o'clock, we're at the foyer. So we are at all times very busy with the rehearsals. Now, what happens? What does that happen? What does that give to a young person? Make that young person deviate from other thoughts. Because I believe that if you are going to involve this young person in other activities other than curriculum, this young person will forget about drug abuse, will forget about deviant behavior, and other things.
Spreading corona and other diseases.
And other diseases. They will come over and be meaningful to the school. And tell them, look here, you are in school, and the only life you have is in college. There's no other better life you'll have out of college. I always tell them, if you can't travel to Mombasa or Lamu or Malindi through the club, you will never travel to Malindi. You'll be quarantined in Kisumu, and you are working in Kisumu.
Yes.
What time will you have to go to Malindi?
Yeah.
So if you don't travel when you're in campus, I tell them, you will never travel again. Spend your life well when you're in campus. Use your money well. You are paying for activity fund. Why are people getting allowances from that money that you are paying for, and you're just there? You are just WhatsApping.
Yes.
Unaenda
see you.
Yes.
Unarudi Moroto.
Even
Moroto imeisha.
Moroto imeisha. Tuko na ghorofa mbili. Now they are very good, and we want to thank Mr. Hira Musheke for the infrastructure given to us.
Hapo kwa Moroto hapo. That is where we'll take a short break.